Buddhism originated over 2,500 years ago in ancient India with the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, who became known as the Buddha, or the Awakened One. But what is it about Buddhism that might strike us as strange? Let's delve into some aspects that may seem unusual to those unfamiliar with this profound spiritual tradition. To begin with, let's look at the concept of nirvana. In Buddhism, nirvana represents the ultimate goal, a state of liberation and freedom from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as samsara. It's often described as the extinguishing of desires and suffering, leading to profound peace and happiness. For many, the idea of striving to extinguish oneself can seem quite strange. Unlike the common pursuit of worldly goals and material success, Buddhism advocates for letting go of all attachments and desires, which is a radical departure from the values upheld by many other cultures and religions. Another intriguing aspect of Buddhism is its emphasis on meditation and mindfulness. Buddhists believe that through meditation, one can attain clarity of mind and insight into the true nature of reality. This practice can seem unusual in a world that's constantly rushing and focused on external achievements. Spending long periods in silent contemplation, observing one's thoughts without reacting, can appear foreign to those who are used to a fast-paced lifestyle. Buddhist monastic life is another element that might appear strange. Monks and nuns lead lives of strict discipline, renouncing worldly possessions and pleasures to focus on their spiritual practice. The sight of monks with shaved heads, wearing simple robes, and living on alms can be quite striking. In many societies, the pursuit of comfort, luxury, and individual success is paramount, making the austere lifestyle of Buddhist monastics seem quite alien. The rituals and practices of Buddhism, such as chanting, bowing, and offering food to statues, might also seem foreign to those not familiar with the tradition. These acts are rich in symbolism and serve to deepen one's spiritual practice. For example, the act of bowing is a gesture of humility and respect, and chanting is a way to focus the mind and connect with the teachings. Buddhism's belief in reincarnation and karma can also be perplexing. The idea that our actions in this life will determine our future lives, and that we have lived countless past lives, is a concept that can be difficult to grasp. This cyclical view of existence contrasts sharply with the linear perspective of life and death that many other cultures and religions hold. One of the most distinctive features of Buddhism is its non-theistic nature. Unlike many religions that center around the worship of a deity or deities, Buddhism does not advocate belief in a god. Instead, it focuses on personal spiritual development and the pursuit of enlightenment. This can seem strange to those accustomed to theistic religions, where a god or gods play a central role in the universe. Buddhism also has vibrant cultural expressions. Festivals like Vesak, which celebrates the birth, enlightenment, and death of the Buddha, are filled with joy and color. These events can provide a striking contrast to the often solemn perception of Buddhist practice. The incorporation of art, dance, and music in these celebrations highlights the diverse ways in which Buddhist teachings are expressed culturally. Buddhist teachings often engage with paradoxes that can be challenging to understand. For instance, the concept of emptiness sunyata teaches that all phenomena are empty of intrinsic existence. This doesn't mean that things do not exist, but rather that they do not exist independently or permanently. Such teachings can be difficult to comprehend and may seem counterintuitive at first. Despite its seemingly strange elements, Buddhism offers a practical philosophy for living a meaningful and ethical life. Its teachings on compassion, mindfulness, and wisdom are applicable to everyday situations and provide a framework for personal growth and understanding. To begin with, let's look at the concept of nirvana. In Buddhism, nirvana represents the ultimate goal, a state of liberation and freedom from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as samsara. It's often described as the extinguishing of desires and suffering, leading to profound peace and happiness. For many, the idea of striving to extinguish oneself can seem quite strange. Nirvana, derived from the Sanskrit word meaning to extinguish or to blow out, symbolizes the extinguishing of the flames of desire, hatred, and ignorance. In this state, the individual transcends the mundane experiences of life and attains an unshakable serenity and joy that is beyond ordinary comprehension. The goal is not to extinguish oneself in a literal sense, but rather to extinguish the afflictive states of mind that cause suffering. Central to understanding nirvana is the concept of samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. According to Buddhist teachings, all beings are trapped in this cycle due to karma, the moral law of cause and effect. Our actions, driven by desires and aversions, create karma that binds us to samsara. Nirvana represents the cessation of this cycle, freeing one from the perpetual suffering associated with endless rebirths. The Buddha's path to nirvana is known as the middle way, a balanced approach that avoids the extremes of self-indulgence and self-mortification. It involves following the Noble Eightfold Path, which includes right understanding, right intent, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. This disciplined path cultivates ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom, leading to the realization of nirvana. One of the core teachings of Buddhism is the Four Noble Truths. The first truth acknowledges the existence of suffering dukkha. The second truth identifies the cause of suffering as craving and attachment. The third truth proclaims that the cessation of suffering is possible, and this cessation is nirvana. The fourth truth outlines the path to achieve this cessation, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. Thus, striving for nirvana is about extinguishing the causes of suffering rather than extinguishing life itself. Achieving nirvana leads to a profound peace and happiness that is unconditioned and everlasting. It is a state free from the turmoil of worldly existence, where the mind is no longer disturbed by cravings, aversions, or delusions. This ultimate peace is often compared to a deep, tranquil ocean, unaffected by the storms of life's challenges. For many, the idea of striving to extinguish oneself can seem quite strange and even nihilistic. However, nirvana is not about annihilation but about transformation. It is the transformation of the mind and the realization of its true nature. In nirvana, the sense of a separate, isolated self dissolves, and one experiences the interconnectedness of all life. Nirvana is often equated with enlightenment. When the Buddha attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, he realized the true nature of reality and the path to end suffering. This realization is available to all beings, and through diligent practice and cultivation of wisdom, anyone can attain nirvana. The pursuit of nirvana has practical implications for everyday life. It encourages individuals to live ethically, develop mindfulness, and cultivate wisdom. By reducing desires and attachments, one can experience greater contentment and less suffering even before attaining full nirvana. Another intriguing aspect of Buddhism is its emphasis on meditation and mindfulness. Buddhists believe that through meditation, one can attain clarity of mind and insight into the true nature of reality. This practice can seem unusual in a world that's constantly rushing and focused on external achievements. The rituals and practices of Buddhism, such as chanting, bowing, and offering food to statues, might also seem foreign to those not familiar with the tradition. These acts are rich in symbolism and serve to deepen one's spiritual practice. Buddhism also has vibrant cultural expressions. Festivals like Vesak, which celebrates the birth, enlightenment, and death of the Buddha, are filled with joy and color. These events can provide a striking contrast to the often solemn perception of Buddhist practice. When I first encountered Buddhism, the rituals seemed strange, but over time I found that they offered a deep sense of connection and understanding. Meditation was hard at first, but it helped me find a calm and peace I never thought possible. Ultimately, what might seem strange about Buddhism at first glance often reveals profound insights into the human condition and the nature of existence. It's a path that invites us to look deeply within ourselves and discover a peace that transcends the ordinary. Buddhism may appear strange because it challenges our usual ways of thinking and being, but in embracing its teachings we can find a profound sense of freedom and enlightenment. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Buddhism. May it inspire you to look beyond the surface and discover the deeper wisdom within.